Hey YouTube, Brandon Ascari here with another great and insightful news episode of Ascari Digital's Content Creator Academy, where, as you know, it is my goal to help educate and inspire you to being the best and most successful freelancer that you can be. Today we're going to be taking a look at some production protocols and set safety as put out by the Screen Actors Guild. I think this is something that we should all be taking very seriously. It is something that's going on with one of the films I'm working on, and because of that we've had to postpone. So in light of that, I thought it would be a really good idea to do an episode on some of the safety protocols that we should actually be following when we're going to be on set. Alright, but first, if you haven't already, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you haven't, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below with any questions, and let's get started with a little bit of news as far as safety protocols is concerned. If you're wondering why I suddenly have 4 eyes and a mustache, unlike other episodes, it's actually because my character, set in the 1940s costume for that film that has now been postponed, probably for a month or two, beards didn't exist back then. Not a thing. They had mustaches or baby faces. I don't want to show my baby face. I like some fur on the face, so here we are. Let's carry on with some news. So what I'm going to do is actually link the article that we're talking about in the description below, so that way you could follow along, because it is a very lengthy article and this video would go on forever if we tried to go through the whole thing. We're just going to be talking about some of the greatest hits and then what I would do as an indie film director, because we can't really follow everything that they have outlined. So let's take a look. Part 1. Guidelines for a safe set in the current environment. The union's members' strong desire to return to work is obvious, but comes with a question. Can it be done safely? As we contemplate and plan for resuming production, there are some important factors to keep in mind. First, this is a truly dangerous, easily transmitted disease. Second, scientists have learned in early months of this novel virus that it spreads in an uneven way, and many outbreaks have been traced back to events and places like markets, community gatherings, and musical events, which represent outbreaks that could have been prevented by planning with best practices. Given these facts, a working film set provides an exceptional opportunity for virus spread. The set can also include any workspace or place that a cast or crew member may be performing work. Third, we still don't know whether antibodies confer immunity, and if so, at what threshold and for how long, along with questions about the antibody tests themselves. And fourth, the nucleic acid tests are also challenging. False negatives endanger lives, and false positives slow production. Either way, it's a lose-lose, but in that regard, obviously health and everything supersedes production. Testing is the cornerstone. We believe strategic testing for the presence of COVID-19 is critical for a safe return to work. Without such testing, the entire cast and crew would be asked to work each day in an environment of unknown risk. A single confirmed case would lead to a quarantining of all who came in close contact with that person, which is basically the whole film set. This could potentially lead to shooting delays, and should that person be a key actor, performer, or director, to production shutdowns, not to mention the real possibility of illness and death. Our belief in regular, consistent testing is based on the best available public health science. The modeling in Part 2 clearly shows how testing is the most effective option in preventing infection during production. Of course, the problem with this is that the tests that they're recommending are ones that will give you results within 60 minutes. It's the CEPHIAD, Cepheiad, I don't really know how to pronounce it. That test is an express test that you would have to have a doctor or nurse, or I guess somebody who's licensed to use this machine, because it looks like some crazy $1 million machine, would have to be there to do the testing for you. So right there, from an independent production standpoint, it just seems like it would be impossible. The zone system. The zone system is the foundation of our safe set strategy. That's a tongue twister. Safe set strategy. Blah, 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 blah. It is step 1. All subsequent production decisions regarding safety should be engineered to fit its premise. It proposes this. Production will consist of 3 zones, A, B, and C. Consistency in the terminology in this area could be helpful and reassuring to cast and crew. Zone A is a perimeter within which activity occurs without physical distancing or the use of PPE. In most cases, this will mean performers working on set with no protection alongside crew. Zone A is a bubble encasing closely vetted, vulnerable people. It can be as small or as large as necessary, can function only for a few hours if need be, and can include controlled points of access between Zone A's. It can also exist within a Zone B and often will if your set is on a stage with production offices. So Zone A basically means anybody who will have to not wear a mask or have any type of protection whatsoever, so will be exposing themselves in the greatest way possible, need to stay enclosed in their own bubble, I guess, or something like that. And what will happen is you will need to be tested 60 minutes before you go out on set while you're still in your bubble to ensure that you aren't transmittable, or hopefully nobody else on set has it, I'm assuming, something like that. Zone B is everywhere the production has a footprint that is not Zone A. Use of PPE and stringent physical distancing practices are observed and enforced within Zone B, with variations and modifications specific to both general filmmaking demands and specific production needs. This could be a production office, base camp, a vehicle, control room, truck, basically any workspace or place that a crew member may be performing work. So basically, Zone B, you're encouraged to wear PPE. You are the closest people to the unprotected ones in Zone A, so you must be careful. So no one can be allowed access to Zone A or B for the first time unless they have been tested and cleared within the last 24 hours. The reason is simple. People often begin to shed the virus before they're symptomatic, and there have been no indications to date an infected person is shedding the virus in less than 48 hours from initial virus exposure. So there are many arguments that could go with this, and that's pretty much where the problem is. So for this reason, Zone A personnel should be tested 3 times a week at minimum, with the understanding that certain circumstances may require daily testing, such as performers and crew involved in production of scenes that require close or intimate contact. So it could be the cinematographer, the camera operator, the sound person, something like that, where they may or may not have to come in close contact with the talent. So those are some interesting points that are being made. And the people in Zone B have to be tested at least once per week, preferably on a Monday or Tuesday, but they too will have been tested and cleared prior to entering Zone B for the first time. Personally, I think you should test them even more than that. I don't see anything about Zone C. Is there a Zone C? C, where's Zone C? For particularly close encounters between actors and performers, it is possible to implement a rapid Cepheid, CEPH-EID, sorry, I was a little off in the spelling there, test that can be completed on-site in less than 60 minutes. These tests will also help the producer respond to what we hope will be the rare instance where the company needs to bring in people from Zone B to Zone A without the usual pre-screening procedure. There's going to be a lot of instances like that because you have to take into consideration sound people need to mic talent, camera's going to have to help with blocking, the director's going to be near. It's just, natural habitat that's what goes on during a film set. So I find that it'll be very difficult for people to go just, back in and not accidentally cross a boundary or something like that. But I think they're probably going to want to have people that are there supervising, making sure that everything goes as planned. Now, as far as the reality of this is concerned, that's where I have a problem when it comes to indie films, because it's very easy for a multi-million-dollar Hollywood budgeted film to say, hey, look, we're going to implement all these tests. We're going to have this $1 million machine here, and we're going to hire a person for more money than most of us are making now to implement such testing. So any of these ideas of being able to get test results in 60 minutes, while that is not accessible to the average person, it's going to be very hard to do that on an independent film. So then that begs the question, well, what can we do? Well, personally, as a director, your job, as mine is on this project, is to ensure the safety of everyone on set. You have to do everything in your power to make sure that everyone is safe, no questions asked. So what are some things that you could do while you're on set? Well, I went and purchased a box of 50 masks to make sure that all 12 of my cast and crew would be able to wear masks whenever possible. Obviously, the cast is not going to be able to for the majority of the film, but the crew can wear masks all day. So obviously, we should have those there, and they should be provided free of charge to everyone on set. It's a small cost, and I highly recommend that you do that. I believe it's essential anyway. Another thing is to have hand sanitizer everywhere. Your hands will never be so clean. So have hand sanitizer on set, have the sanitation wipes. I went to a local flea market and I bought a bundle of wipes, sanitizer, and masks, and it cost me like $30 to buy all of those, which is amazing because I've never seen masks cheaper than $1 a mask, so it was a great deal to get those. So look for things like that that'll help you save money and also keep your set safe. I also went on Amazon and looked for an infrared thermometer, the one that you kind of just like point at their head and it scans and tells you what their temperature is, so that way you can check everybody. And I believe the rule is 100.4 or higher, you have to send them home. Under that, no problem. Depending on the location you're going to be using, they may tell you if anyone's over that, then everybody has to go home. It just depends. Check with their rules. Make sure everything's copacetic so there's no issues. But you should make sure everybody checks their temperature the day before, the morning of, and then upon arrival to set. I think that would be the best way to handle something like that. Also, having the mask, the sanitizer, and your sanitation wipes for doorknobs, handles, stuff like that. I think that's probably doing as much as we can do aside from encouraging and trying to enforce that everybody gets tested in time before doing the film. Make sure that if they're exhibiting any symptoms that they go and get tested just to make sure, put everybody's mind at ease, because we don't want to risk anyone's safety and we don't want to risk anyone's health, because this is a life-threatening disease that is not something for child's play. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to leave a comment down below. Again, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you will know every Monday and Wednesday when a new episode comes at you live. Anyway, my name is Brandon Ascari from Ascari Digital's Content Creator Academy, and I will see ya!